My dear students, so here it is your Arka sir, and I have come with a fresh new episode on biology. So if you have not subscribed my channel yet, so subscribe my channel Physics Scholar Arka sir, okay, to get the continuous videos, and if you can follow the videos from first to last, every video, okay, then what will happen? Then the concept of this particular topic will be clear to you. And still if you are facing any problems, then you can write in comments. So obviously I will solve. I am getting many comments from many students, so I am also giving the answer to them, okay, and what type of videos they want to see, that also I am giving. So today the topic is lymph and tissue fluid. In my previous video I uploaded the blood, all the component of the blood, okay, blood coagulation, clear, and platelets, okay, everything I have discussed in details. If you have missed, you can go and you can see that. You can go to the previous episodes and you can see that it is all, these were discussed over there. Now today one very important topic, lymph and tissue fluid. Clear? What is lymph and tissue fluid? These are also liquid, okay. So what is lymph and tissue fluid? So first let us start with tissue fluid. So tissue fluid. What is tissue fluid? Okay, so our body consists of the cells and the tissues. The combination of cells is known as the tissues. So the combination of cells is known as, suppose these are the cells, so the fluid that lies, okay, in between the tissues or cells, and it will provide nutrition. It will provide nutrition to the tissues or cells. So these liquids are known as what? Tissue fluid. Clear? So the liquid, okay, which is situated in between the tissues and provide the nutrition to the tissues are known as tissue fluid. So if it is asked what is tissue fluid, so what we have to do? The liquid which lies between the tissues and provide nutrition to tissues. Tissues is known as tissue fluid. Tissue fluid. Clear? So this is known as tissue fluid, okay. So the liquid which are there in between the tissues and provide nutrition to the tissues are known as tissue fluid. Clear? Now how the tissue fluid actually develops, or from where the tissue fluid develops, clear, and what are there in the tissue fluid, okay. So the tissue fluid, that means what? Source. The tissue fluid can be developed from two things. One is what? One is blood, okay, blood plasma, and another is during what? Tissue activity. Tissue activity, okay. So from these two part, basically the tissue fluid develops, okay. So first one is known as the blood plasma and second one is known as tissue activity. Now how it will be developed from these two, now we will discuss, okay, and then we will discuss the function of the tissue fluid. Clear? So first is what? Blood plasma. Basically blood plasma, and from where it is coming out? Capillaries. Okay, capillaries. Now so blood plasma, or we can write it blood capillaries. So basically what is blood capillaries? Blood capillaries means where the blood vessels actually have some branches. Okay, it will be splitted into branches. So two type of blood vessels are there, artery and vein. Okay, so that means what? The artery will also have branch and the vein will also divide it into branches. Clear? So now, so the blood capillaries, what is two type of blood capillaries are there? One is known as arterial capillaries and vein capillaries. Okay, so now the arterial capillary. So the blood pressure will be high in the artery. Clear? In our artery. So when the heart will be in systole condition, the blood pressure will be high. So when the blood will come in the arterial capillaries, then the pressure will be almost 32 to 35 mm of Hg. Clear? So the pressure of blood in the arterial capillaries will be what? 32 to 35 mm of Hg. Clear? Mm of Hg. Now what happened actually? So due to this huge pressure, okay, due to the huge pressure, the internal pressure of the blood in the arterial capillary will be more. So suppose this is the arterial capillaries, okay. So blood inside this, the pressure on blood will be more. Then what will happen? From plasma, what will happen? Water plus protein will come out. Okay, so this membrane, the membrane of the capillaries are permeable membrane. Clear? So through this membrane, okay, due to the osmosis pressure, okay, what will happen? The water and protein from the plasma of blood will come out, because the pressure of blood inside this capillary are more. Okay, so that's why it will come out. Okay, the water and the protein. Clear? As a liquid it will come out, and these are the different type of tissues. So it will fill up the gap between the tissues or between different type of cells. Clear? So it is nothing but the water plus protein. Okay, but the amount of protein, because if we compare with the blood, the amount of protein in the tissue fluid will be less than that of the blood. Why? Because the protein is only coming out from blood only. Obviously we can consider the blood as a mother source of protein. Clear? So the amount of protein here in the tissue fluid will be lesser than that of the blood. Clear? So what we come to know, that in the arterial capillaries the blood pressure will be more. So when the blood will come, then what will happen? Due to the pressure, okay, there will be a difference of the osmosis pressure. Okay, so the blood from the plasma, the water and the protein will come out, okay, and fill up the gap between the tissues. Okay, so this is how the tissue fluid develops from the arterial capillaries. And what about the vein? Clear? So hope up to this you have understood. Now what about the vein? It is the arterial capillaries, how the blood, tissue fluid is coming out, that we have discussed. Now what about the vein? In case of the vein, it is also branch capillaries. Okay, so what will happen? The pressure of blood is about 10 mm of Hg. That means it is much lesser than compared to the pressure of arterial capillaries. Clear? It is much lesser or less. So what will happen? Now the pressure of blood is less. So what will happen? Now there will be also a difference between the pressure, internal pressure and the external pressure of the tissue fluid. So what will happen? the water plus protein that will re-enter inside the plasma or inside blood. Plasma means the blood, clear? So that means through the vein capillaries the water and protein will re-enter inside the what? Capillaries of the vein, clear? So why? Because the pressure is lesser, and here the pressure will be more, okay? So difference between the osmosis pressure. So that's why the water and protein will again move into the plasma, clear, or go back to the plasma, okay? So this is how the tissue fluid actually develops from blood capillaries, clear? From the blood plasma arterial capillaries it will come out, and again from the vein capillary it will enter, okay? Now the second source. Now the second source is what? Tissue activity. So tissue means what? Tissue means the combination of cells, clear? Combination of cells means tissue. So what is tissue activity? So inside the cell there are the metabolic processes are going on, clear? And the metabolic processes are going on, and due to the metabolic process what is developing as a product H2O, water is there, okay, in the metabolic process. So this water then from the cell it will come out, okay, it will come out, okay, along with some proteins, okay, and what will happen? It in between the gap of the cells or tissues, this water will come and will be deposited or accumulated in the space, okay. That's what the tissue fluid actually develops from the tissue activity. Tissue activity means the metabolic process, okay. Due to the metabolic process the water will be produced and that will come out as a tissue fluid, okay. So students, hope what is tissue fluid you have understood, and how it is generating or developing, that also we have understood. Now let us move to the next topic. Now students, now the next topic is the function of the tissue fluid, okay, the function of tissue fluid. Function of tissue fluid. So first, what is the function? First function is what? Tissue fluid will provide nutrition to the cells or tissues, clear? As it has protein, so it will provide nutrition to the cell or tissues, clear? Number 2, tissue fluid can act as a reservoir of protein, salt and minerals, okay. So the tissue fluid can act as a reservoir, that means when it is required by our body, clear, it can be stored inside the tissue fluid for the temporary basis, clear. So when it will be required by our body, then it will be supplied from here directly to our cell or tissues, clear. So the tissue fluid can act as a reservoir of protein, salt and minerals, okay. So the next point, so these 2 points hope you have understood. So tissue fluid, as it has the protein, so it will supply, it can provide nutrition to the cells or tissues, and the second is tissue fluid can act as a reservoir of or as a storage, okay, place of protein, salt and minerals. Now the next one will be when the volume of our blood increases or decreases, Then tissue fluid help us to maintain the volume of our blood. What happening? Our volume of blood can be increased or decreased. Clear? The volume of blood can be increased or decreased. So when the saline will be given, clear? When the saline will be given, then what will happen? The amount of water of the blood will increase. So if a patient is given a saline, clear? Then what will happen? Then the amount of water of the blood will increase. That means the volume will increase. Then what will happen? The blood pressure inside the capillaries. Inside the capillaries, the blood pressure will increase. Okay, blood pressure will increase, and the amount of protein, because the water will increase, so the amount of the concentration or the density of the protein in the plasma will decrease. Then what will happen? So due to the osmosis pressure, the water will come out from the blood vessels, okay, or from the capillaries, and the amount of liquid fluid or the tissue fluid will increase. Thus what will happen? The extra amount of water is coming out from the blood as a tissue fluid. Clear? So what will happen? The volume of the blood will now decrease. So that means it is if the volume of the blood increases, okay, by any reason, especially if we are giving saline to a person, then what will happen? The water in the okay, proportion or the amount of water in the blood will increase. Then what will happen? The blood pressure will increase, as well as what will happen? The density of the protein will decrease. So as a result, the water will come out as a tissue fluid. That means the amount of tissue fluid will increase. Clear? So if the water is coming out, then again what will happen? The volume of the blood will decrease. Thus it helps to maintain the constant, okay, or almost equal blood volume. Okay. Now when the excess blood loses the excess amount of water, then what will happen? When the blood loses the excess amount of water, if blood loses excess amount, dehydration amount of water, or due to any injury blood actually passed out, okay, destroyed, clear, or due to any dehydration, okay, there is a scarcity of water in blood, then what will happen? Then the tissue fluid is there. Tissue fluid means what? H2O plus protein. Then what will happen? Then venous, okay, so venous capillaries, okay, then what will happen? Then from the tissue fluid, the water will enter inside the blood or into the blood. Clear? So from the tissue fluid, what will happen? The water will enter in the blood. Thus again the volume of the blood, okay, previously it was decreased due to the loss of excess amount of water. Now as what will happen? From the tissue fluid, the amount of water will again enter in the blood, and that's why the volume of the blood will again increase. Okay. So that is how the mechanism. If the volume of blood increased or decreased by any reason, then what will happen? The tissue fluid will come to an action, and what will happen? It will either supply water to blood, or it will take out water from blood. Clear? Thus it will maintain the volume of the blood, or almost a constant volume of blood in our blood vessels. So I hope the function of tissue fluid you have understood it, okay, properly. Now let us move to the next topic. So students, so we have already discussed what is tissue fluid, how the tissue fluid is generated inside our body, as well as the function of the tissue fluid. Clear? So hope these three very simple thing you have understood. Now next topic is edema. What is edema? If a large amount of tissue fluid is deposited or secreted, then that part of our body will be enlarged, okay, or we can see a swollen, okay, part of that particular area, okay. This is known as edema, okay. So what is edema? If there is a huge number of tissue fluid secreted, okay, and it is deposited between the tissues, then what will happen? Obviously it is made of what? Blood and protein, water and protein, clear? So that means what? That part will be what? Enlarged, okay. So just like a tumor, okay. So this is known as edema, okay. Now what is the reason? What is the reason for edema? What are the reasons for edema? Okay. So now we will learn that reason. So first, that means what? Actual cause is what? The extra amount of secretion of tissue fluid. So if we can understand why the tissue fluid will be generated, then that will be the reason for edema. Then first of all is what? If the density of plasma protein decreases, then what will happen? More amount of water will come out from plasma as a tissue fluid, clear? Number 2, so if the density of plasma protein decreases, then what will happen? More amount of water will come out as a tissue fluid, and it will be deposited where? In between the tissues, clear? So that part will be enlarged, so edema can occur, okay. Now number 2, if the pressure of blood in the capillaries increases, then what will happen? If the pressure of the blood in the capillaries increases, then the difference will increase between the blood and the tissue fluid. So what will happen? In osmosis process, the more amount of water will come out from blood, clear? So as a result, amount of tissue fluid will increase, so it can also create the edema, clear? If the more amount of water is coming out from the blood due to the pressure difference between the blood as well as between the blood and the tissue fluid, so extra amount of water will come out from the blood and the volume of tissue fluid will increase, and also what will happen? The edema can be seen, okay. So this is the second reason. Now let us move to the third point, reason for edema, okay. So third point, if the permeability of capillary membrane increases. If the permeability of the capillary membrane, blood capillary membrane increases, then what will happen? Then more amount of water can come out, permeability increases, clear? So that means what? It will, as a result, it will increase the amount of the tissue fluid and edema can occur. Okay? Now, number 4. What is number 4? Number 3 means permeability. Okay, if there is an obstruction of lymphatic duct or vessel. So next topic will be our lymph. Okay, so the lymph is one type of liquid which also, just like the blood vessel, which also is transmitting, okay, through a vessel, that is known as the lymphatic vessels. And if we see the lymphatic vessels, there are some gland type of things we can see, that is known as the lymphatic duct. Okay, so if there is an obstruction of the lymphatic duct or vessel, then also the tissue fluid, the amount of tissue fluid will increase. Okay, so how, what is lymphatic system, what is lymphatic duct, what is lymphatic vessel, what is lymph, okay, that we will understand. We will understand and I will discuss in this episode only. Clear? So these are the reasons for the edema. Clear? Clear to all of you? So what is edema? What are the reasons for edema? Okay, so I hope up to this you have understood it. Okay, so now let us move to the next topic. So students, now let us move to the next topic. Okay, so let us move to the next topic. So it is lymph. So what is lymph? The slightly yellowish color liquid which is slightly basic and flows through the lymphatic vessel is known as lymph. Okay, so there is, just like the blood vessels, there is the vessels is there through which this liquid actually flows. Okay, so it is what, the color is slightly yellowish. Okay, and it is slightly basic in nature and flows through this. Okay, and basically it is also known as transformed tissue fluid. Transformed tissue fluid. It is also known as transformed tissue fluid. Clear? So what we can say as the definition of lymph? The slightly yellowish color fluid which actually slightly basic in nature and flows through the lymphatic vessels is known as lymph, and lymph is one type of transformed tissue fluid. Clear to all of you? So now we will start the function of lymph. What is the function of lymph? Now we will learn the function of lymph. Function of lymph. So first, function of lymph, it also has protein just like the tissue fluid. So it provides nutrition to cells or tissues. It provides nutrition to cells or tissues. Number 2, some fatty materials can't flow through blood vessels. Okay, so how they will then transport? Okay, they transport through lymph vessel. Okay, so some fatty materials are there which cannot flow through the blood vessels. Now they can flow through lymph vessels. Clear? They transport to lymph vessels. Clear? So that is the second function. Now what is the third function? In lymph T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte cells are there which are generated from lymphatic duct. Okay, so this cells help to protect our body from harmful microorganism. These cells help to protect our body from harmful microorganisms. Okay, so what is that? So it provides nutrition to cells as it has some proteins in it in lymph. So it also provides the nutrition just like the tissue fluid. It is a transformed tissue fluid, so the functions will be same. Clear? So it also provides the nutrition to the tissue or cells. Now some fatty components are there that couldn't be transported by blood vessels. They will be transported through the lymph vessels. Okay, and the lymph have two type of WBC, okay, lymphocyte cells. Okay, B and T lymphocyte cells are there which help us to protect against germs or against the microorganisms. Okay, so this is the three functions. Now let us write the fourth function of the lymph. Fourth function of the lymph. So the fourth function is in the tissues or cells where blood can't reach there the lymph supply the O2 and other nutrients and remove remove CO2 and other excretory products from cells or tissues and supply it to lungs or kidney. Okay. So the excretory product will come out to either the carbon dioxide will come out as expiration from lungs, and the other excretory product, okay, that will come out as okay, with urine. So it will be supplied to kidney. So that is also a very important function where the blood cannot reach. In that particular cases, the lymph actually supply the oxygen and other nutrients. That means what? During the nutrition process, what happened? The protein will convert it into amino acid. The carbohydrate will be converted into fat, into glucose, fructose, or galactose, that is in monosaccharide, and the fat will be converted into fatty acid and glycerol. That will be supplied to the cell along with the oxygen and other minerals, okay, by the lymph, as well as the lymph will take out the excretory products along with the carbon dioxide, and that will be supplied or transferred, okay, so that it can come out from our body, where either to lungs or to our kidney. Okay. So these are the basic functions. So it has also a function to protect our body, okay, from the harmful microorganisms, okay, and also it supplies the nutrients to our cell and remove the other excretory product and carbon dioxide from our cell, clear, and also it has the from protein, so it can supply the nutrients to the cells, okay. So these are actually the functions of lymph. So students, hope you have understood this. Now let us move to the next topic. Let us move to the next topic, the difference, very important questions for board examination. Okay, differences between blood and lymph. Differences between blood and lymph. Okay. So very important questions. So it is blood, I am writing, and it is lymph, I am writing. Clear? Basically, the blood has hemoglobin. Okay. In most of the cases, in case of us, okay, except the insects. So blood, due to hemoglobin is red in color. What? Except is what? Insects, leech, except insects, okay. Then earthworm, etc. Clear? And lymph, what is lymph? It is slightly yellowish in color. Clear? Due to hemoglobin, the blood is red in color, except insects, earthworms, etc. Hemocyanin is there. Okay, even prawns, hemocyanins are there. Okay, and earthworm, the blood don't have any colors. Okay, so this is where the hemoglobin is there. So that is blood is what? Red in color, and it is slightly yellowish in color. The blood flows through blood vessels, and what is the name of the vessels? The blood flows through blood vessels. Lymph flows through lymph vessels. Okay, so the blood flows through blood vessels and lymph flows through lymph vessels. Clear? Now the next one. In blood, WBC, RBC, platelets are present. Okay. Here in lymph only lymphocyte cells are present. Clear? So next, fibrinogen is present. Fibrinogen is present here. Less amount of fibrinogen is present. Clear? Okay. So basically these are the differences between the blood and the lymph. So the color of blood due to hemoglobin, if hemoglobin is present then the color of blood will be red. If hemocyanin is present then it will be bluish. If any other in other cases it will be what? Colorless, but it is slightly yellowish in color. Okay, so the blood flows through the blood vessel, it will flow to the what? Lymph vessels. Okay, so the WBC, RBC and platelets are there. Here only lymphocyte type of WBCs are there. Now fibrinogen is present. Fibrinogen amount of fibrinogen is lesser, okay, than that of blood. Okay, so these are the basically differences between the blood and the lymph. Okay, now let us move to the next topic. So lymphatic system consists of first portion, it consists of lymph. So already I have discussed what is lymph. Now how the lymph will be generated from the blood capillaries. From the blood capillaries, just like the tissue fluid, the first lymph will come out. Okay, the lymph will come out and it will take a place, just like the tissue fluid, it will take a place between the tissues. Okay, it will be deposited between the tissues. Okay, so lymph is that liquid. Now next one is what? And this will be surrounded by the lymph capillaries. Next one is lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries. Now what will be there? This lymph, from the which are there in between the tissues or cells, this lymph then will be absorbed by the lymph capillaries. Lymph capillaries, and what will happen? It will enter into the lymph capillaries. This lymph will then enter inside the lymph capillaries. Clear? Now next point is lymph vessel. Just like so, lymph capillaries will meet together and will form what? Lymph vessel. Lymph capillaries will meet together and form lymph vessel. So what will happen? The lymph will be absorbed by the lymph capillaries and that lymph will come into the lymph vessels and that lymph will flow through the lymph vessels. Okay. So the lymph will flow through the lymph vessels. So first, what is the lymphatic system? First one is lymph, the liquid that will come out from the blood capillaries and will be deposited in between the tissues and the cells. And lymph capillaries, so this lymph will be surrounded by the lymph capillaries, clear? Many lymph capillaries. So it will enter, it will be entered into the lymph capillaries and from there, okay, it will come and the lymph capillaries will connect themselves and prepare the lymph vessel. So all the lymph will be now deposited in the lymph vessel and through lymph vessels it will flow. Okay. So this is the 3 points. So next one is, so after lymph vessel, what is there? Lymph duct or lymphatic duct. Okay. So towards the length of the lymph, vessels, this type of gland we can see. So this is known as lymphatic duct. Basically it will generate lymphocyte cells. It will generate the lymphocyte cells, T or B type, okay, lymphocyte cells. So which will actually destroy the harmful microorganisms that enters in our body, clear? So this is the lymph where it is situated, okay, towards the length of the lymph vessels, okay. That means in between the two sides of our throat, clear, in the armpit, okay. So this type of lymphatic duct is situated, clear? So students, hope up to this you have understood, clear? So now let us move to the next topic. So next one is thoracic duct. The all lymphatic duct or gland, from upper left hand side of our body, actually it so all lymph duct of left hand side of our body prepare thoracic duct. And next one is right lymphatic duct. Like lymphatic duct. So all lymphatic duct of right hand side of our body okay, prepare right lymphatic duct. Okay. So this left hand side all lymphatic duct consist or will prepare what? Thoracic duct, and right hand side it will be right lymphatic duct, and both the duct will open, okay, in subclavian vein. Okay. So the duct will open at subclavian vein, clear? So and through vein okay, then it will again go to blood. Okay, so this is actually the total of our tissue fluid and the lymph. Okay, so students, I hope you have understood this topic, the lymph as well as the tissue fluid after blood. So I have discussed blood in details in my previous all episodes, okay, on blood, and today I have discussed about the lymph and the tissue fluid. So if you have any doubt or anything, you can write me in comments, and in the next video I will go to the topic human blood and human, how the blood circulation goes and how the function of human heart, okay, how the heart is functioning and how the blood is circulating throughout our body. So that we will discuss in detail. So hope you have enjoyed this topic. So see you very soon in my next topic. Thank you.